Hello. So we are safely back in Japan, and the flight was okay. Actually, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, because my daughter has been crawling about a lot more, and we were going back, I think, with a different baby compared to the baby that we came over with. On the flight we came over, she wasn't crawling. She was quite happy just sitting there looking around. But on the way back, just sitting there on our laps and just being happy, looking at everything, it wasn't something that she was going to be okay with anymore. So she was always grabbing lots of things, and we quickly realized this made eating almost an impossible task, because she was sitting on our laps and the trays are just right in front of her. And so anything you put down in front of her, she would just grab. So it was completely impossible to try and eat with her on your lap. So what I worked out pretty quickly is that the best thing to do is when one of us is eating, is that we leave our seat with my daughter, and then the other person can try and eat in peace, and then we can swap. There's no other way to do it, because even the tray next to you is too close to my daughter, so she'll just grab the tray on the seat next to her as well. So that was a bit difficult. It was a bit trying, but it was, there was something that we could do about it. We could just work out an easy enough solution, just by putting some distance between my daughter and these things that she was trying to grab all the time. But I mean, that was with two people. If I'd been flying on my own with my daughter, I don't know what I would have done. I don't think I would have been able to eat. It just would have been impossible. It depends on the type of food they give you, to be honest. I mean, if they gave you something like a sandwich, and you can eat it with one hand, it's probably okay. But anything, that you have to put down in a tray or something, and you have to use like a knife and fork, or you have to use some chopsticks to try and pick it up, that was just out of the question. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, with another child, this would be just impossible, because we'd both have, a child on our laps, and there'd be no one that we could pass them to sort of have a rest whilst we eat. So yeah, that would be really hard. One thing that happened, I should have told you. I should probably have started the podcast episode with this, because I was just saying, like, everything in the flight was like okay and pretty normal, apart from the first flight, which was not pretty normal, or at least it was up until a certain point. So I'll explain. We woke up like crazy early in the morning, like 3:30 or something, and then we had to wait around at the airport for hours, like you do. But everything was fine, went through security. They checked some stuff because we had so many like baby things and some water to take on for our daughter and all that kind of stuff. So we thought we were going to get stopped. So nothing unusual there. We got onto this like bus that we had to take us to the aeroplane. That's the one. That's the word. Take us to the aeroplane. And it was taking ages. And we were getting a bit worried, because we realized we'd had about I think it worked out being a half an hour to get the next flight, like just half an hour. And we thought, how are we going to do this? The plane's going to land and we've got to somehow get through security again, this time in France, and find the plane. And this sounds like an absolute nightmare. And we were really worried that we were going to miss the flight. So this bus was just sitting there for ages, not doing anything. And I was just looking at my watch, stressing out, just thinking, go, go, go. And this was whilst trying to look after my daughter as well. So it was just even more hectic than it would have been, even more stressful than it would have been. But anyway, it started off and everyone boarded the plane and everything seemed to be going normally. And the plane sort of like taxied around the airport, and then it got to the runway, and then all the engines came on full power, and we were rushing down the runway, and we just just about, like I think that the plane, like the nose of the plane lifted off the tarmac, the runway. And as soon as it did that, there was this massive like shudder in the plane. Like the whole thing sort of like, it felt like the plane was sort of like slipping on the runway or something like that. And all the emergency brakes came on, and the lights came on because it was pitch black outside, completely dark. And I think we had to turn the lights off in the cabin when we were taking off, just one of those rules. And it was scary. I'll say that I'll say that. And I remember just having to put my hand out in front of the seat, just trying to like brace myself, stop myself from sliding forwards, because they really did jam those brakes on really hard. And there was an air cabin assistant behind me who went up and spoke to this man and said, like, if we have to evacuate suddenly, please stop people from using this door or something like that. You have to stand in the way and block them, which I didn't really understand. Maybe I misheard or something. But yeah, it seemed like, at the time it seemed serious. Like we didn't know what was going on. Had something gone wrong with the plane. Had one of the engines caught fire. We didn't know like how serious it was. We weren't told any information for a while. And then it was reported that all that had happened is there was a warning light. One of the pilots noticed there was a warning light, and we had to stop because of that. And then it turned out to be nothing. So the plane went around the runway again. Went around the airport again, and then got back onto the runway. And I was thinking, I don't know if I really trust this plane anymore. I mean, it's just said something's wrong. And then the pilots have checked it and said like, it's probably nothing really. But I mean, I don't know how much I would trust that. I guess they must have had a very good understanding that it was fine. But like if it's me and it's my own car, and I get like a flashing light come on, and then the flashing light goes, I don't trust the car. So, the plane is obviously a lot more complicated than something like a car. So the way that you must check these things, there must be all kinds of rules for checking them and making sure everything's fine. But I didn't have much confidence in it. And I was thinking, I wouldn't actually mind like getting off this plane and going onto another plane if you feel that's safer. But no, we tried to take off again, and this time nothing happened. Perfectly fine, landed safely in France. And for some reason, just pure luck, we even managed to get there like half an hour earlier. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it was possible, considering we just had like a delay, not being able to take off on the runway on time. But we got there half an hour earlier, and we needed that half an hour. So we went through all the security again in France and got stopped again. But it was it was fine. Nothing bad happened. Just got stopped like we expected. And then we were rushing. We were like, let's just get to the airplane terminal as quickly as possible, because we've got almost no time before it closes. I think what we didn't notice before getting to the airport is it said like, the next flight is at this time. And yes, it is. But the boarding closes like half an hour earlier. So we thought we had an hour to catch the plane. Then we realized it was only half an hour. But because the plane got there half an hour earlier, landed half an hour early in France, then we had about an hour. I think it was a bit less than that, really. So we were rushing, trying to find it. And they put it in the furthest. I mean, we had to get a train first, like a monorail thing. So like an internal train service in the airport to get to the right terminal, and we had to get on a bus before that. And so, yeah, it really slowed us down. And in the end, I think we had about like half an hour to sort of run to this like terminal. And this terminal was the one that was the furthest possible distance away from where we needed to get. I swear it was. It was right at the very end of this ridiculously long hall. And I remember just like looking at my wife and just saying like, oh my God, why have they stuck it so far away? And it was like we had like loads of luggage. So we had like a trolley full of luggage and a small child, and we were trying to run, and it was just a nightmare. And we managed to get there, I think, with about either 5 or 10 minutes just before the gate closed. So if that plane had not landed earlier, that's it. We wouldn't have missed the flight. And it would have been a complete disaster. I don't know what we would have done. But thankfully, we managed to catch it, and everything after that was plain sailing. That's a bit of a joke, not a very good one. Especially with mixed metaphors. But anyway, returning back to the topic I was speaking about at the start of the podcast, my daughter's behaviour on the plane, she was amazingly well behaved. I mean, really good. I don't think she cried. She got a bit grumpy when it was feeding time, as you'd expect. But mostly, I mean, as good as you could expect, really. You know, I don't think you could expect better behaviour on a plane. So we were very, very lucky. It could have been an absolute nightmare, but it wasn't. And the kind staff members of Air France gave her this little like Air France themed toy blanket thing, which she liked playing with, and a certificate as well, like a little, I've flown from London to Tokyo, not London. I've flown from Paris to Tokyo, sorry. And like with her name on, and yeah, I thought that was nice as well. So yeah, just letting you know that it was okay and not as bad as I was expecting it to be. Well, there was all the rushing and everything, and the nearly missing the flight, and that problem with the flight in the first place, and all the difficulty that comes with looking after a small child on a flight. But having said that, I think it went rather well. Okay, until next time, bye-bye.